Hello friends, I'm Samriddhi Banerjee and welcome to my channel The Mad Reader. In this video, I'm going to narrate a story written by me and published in my school magazine. This story is called The Shadow Mystery and is set in an imaginary boarding school in Kensington. Do listen to the whole audiobook till the end and hit the like button if you like it. Also, kindly write out in the comment section about how the story sounded like to you and any improvement points which you came across. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video to as many people as you can. So, let's start. The Shadow Mystery. It was a very stormy evening and there was an electricity problem in the boarding school in Kensington, London. So, the whole school was dark, gloomy and awake because of the rain clattering down the humble old school building. Mary Franklin just remembered that she had forgotten to bring her hairbrush from the common room. So she took a candle and went to the common room from the dormitory all by herself. All the windows were open in the common room and a raging wind was howling and blowing the curtains terribly. Poor Mary, for someone who was afraid of her own shadow and the tiniest of things one could imagine, this was not a pleasant expedition at all. She went to her shelf in the corner of the room by a window on the right hand side and opened it, retrieving her hairbrush. Suddenly, something brushed past her shoulder. She shuddered and got goosebumps all over her body and gingerly turned back just to laugh silently to herself because all that had touched her was the curtain. But what she saw after that made her stop laughing and drop her hairbrush. On her left side, eerie shadows were dancing and the wind was blowing the curtain around her as if to wrap her up. One last blow of the wind and the candle went out. Mary screamed her heart out and fainted. The next thing Mary knew was somebody kneeling down beside her and a far off voice saying, "Look, she's coming around." That was Carla Denton. Anybody would recognize her high pitched voice and exaggerating way of pronunciation anywhere. Mary forced her eyes to open and said, "Where am I?" "You are in the dorm, and we sincerely expect that you will also answer some of our questions. For instance, what you were doing in the common room at this time of night with the lights out," Carla exclaimed cattily. "I went to get my hairbrush, then saw some eerie shadows, and the curtains were trying to strangle me to death. The candle went out, and I screamed loudly. I think that is how you found me," finished Mary meekly in a long breath. "Yes, that's right. And now I think some rest would do you a whole lot of good because you are out of your mind," said a calm and serene voice. It was Vanessa Lewis. "Why do you say so?" interrogated Mary. "Look, curtains don't go around strangling people and eerie shadows don't form out of the blue," Vanessa countered logically. "I see that our down to the earth Miss Detective does not believe in Mary's horrifying experience," Carla spat out. "Don't you worry, Mary. Answer me a few questions and I'll solve this mystery." "Looks like Carla is interested in playing detective even after midnight," Vanessa said smoothly, and some others in the room murmured and giggled in agreement. "Okay," stated Carla, evidently ignoring them. "So, Mary, tell me, do you have any enemies who hold such a grudge against you as to try to murder you?" Mary simply shrugged. "Oh, then it must be someone who holds a grudge against your parents who wants to harm you and get their revenge." "Well, then tomorrow call your parents from the office and ask them about it. Sorry to say, but we can do nothing more tonight," said Carla after thinking for a long time. Suddenly, Vanessa burst out laughing. Carla shot an irritated glance at her, only to double her merriment. "What's so funny, Vanessa? Tell us, and we might also share the joke," Carla said with a voice brimming with fake sweetness. Well, you cannot expect me to point out the terrible joke that you're making of yourself, Vanessa said amidst her laughter. Fuming, Carla raised her voice. Do you think I'm joking? Well, then I challenge you to solve this mystery before me. Agreed. But firstly, you should know that there is no need to make a racket by shouting. Secondly, there isn't a mystery at all, rather a bit of confusion mixed with hallucination, and I'll explain how. Now watch. Vanessa still bore her calm and unruffled attitude as if nothing had happened at all. She put down the book of Sherlock Holmes that she had been reading and extinguished all the candles in the room except for one. Next, she went to the window and stood by that solemnly, holding the candle. For a few minutes, nothing happened, but after that, Carla grew impatient and said, Are we all blind or what, Vanessa? Because let me tell you that we can see nothing out of the ordinary. Vanessa interrupted before she could go on. So, you girls were looking at me all this time. I should have thought so. What a whole lot of idiots you are. Now, please do me a favor and turn your heads in the opposite direction beside Julie's bedside cabinet. And sure enough, there was a shadow flickering in there. It swayed as Vanessa moved along the window. Maybe the wind blew the curtain around Mary and she thought that it was going to strangle her, and she saw her own shadow in the candlelight moving in the darkness, and that's all. So, have I been able to prove that there's no mystery at all? Asked Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa, you win this time, but next time it will be my turn, Carla muttered furiously. And thus, the shadow mystery turned out to be nothing at all because it had a simple explanation. Or hadn't it? Well, friends, that's all for this video. Hope you liked my story. Thank you.